Hi everyone, Morgan here. This is video 2 of my series where I'm going to be talking about how we can be prepared for the most realistic emergencies and disasters. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how we can best be prepared for civil unrest. Now, a lot of people may think that civil unrest is just not going to happen here in the United States. It's not going to happen in, these civilized, areas, whatever. But in fact, it actually already has happened in very localized places here in the United States. In 2014, a quiet vigil in Ferguson, Missouri quickly turned into a riot. Protesters vandalized and looted more than 12 community businesses. And then let's not even forget in 1992, the LA riots, where 50 people died and another 2,000 injured, and over 1,000 buildings were damaged. If we look overseas, the most recent civil unrest that we can look at is Hong Kong, where it started as a protest essentially against Beijing, and then it turned into just this huge civil unrest against Beijing. And essentially, it just turned to this huge thing where people were being grounded, unable to leave Hong Kong. And in a lot of cases, people were warning people, don't go to Hong Kong during this time of civil unrest. Civil unrest can break out for any reason. It could break out because of a natural disaster. It could break out, like a hurricane or something like that. It could break out because, your favorite sports team didn't win. It could break out because, your candidate didn't win the presidency. Okay. These things can happen, for a wide variety of reasons. And we have to be prepared for mass protests, mass civil unrest type of situations. So let's look at how a few ways that we can do that. So first of all, you really should have a plan on what to do with this stuff. Really write down how you and your family would react. What if you were out and about and this stuff started to happen? How would you get out of the situation? How would you get home safely? Or if you felt the need, how would you leave the city for an extended period of time? I think the most important thing that we could think about here is intel. We need to have as much intel as possible. So if you do decide to leave the area, switch on that radio, your ham radio, or, just the local news. Search the internet and do whatever you can to have a constant stream of intel as much as you can, because these protests and civil unrest and things will be captured by news. And as long as there's still electricity and there's no mass blackouts or anything like that, then the news should continue to flow and give you information about when it might be safe. But of course, you always want to use your discretion when it comes to the safety of your family. If you want to wait, a few days after the riots or the civil unrest, just to make double sure that it's not going to start back up again, that's probably a good idea, but that's going to be based on you and your guys' plans, how you feel exactly. So if you are going to hunker down in your home, then you need to make sure that your home is secure. You need to make sure that you have the proper defenses in place. Knowing what's going on outside of your house is also going to be important, maybe not vital, but important, I think. Having some sort of cameras or something outside your home just to kind of see what's going on out there if anything were to kind of creep up around your home. Basically, the further away from the situation that you can get, the better. And of course, you want to have the basics of survival. You want to have your food and your water and, all the utilities should technically be running, but if they're not, you want to have your backups, your water purifications. You want to make sure that you have alternative ways to go to the bathroom. You have your self-defense tools such as a firearm or something to keep you safe. You also want to have, that intel with you at all times, that ham radio, the emergency radio, whatever it is. You want to make sure that you have your flashlights and your batteries and also entertainment. You want to make sure that your home is fortified to the best of your ability with all of this stuff, and then stay indoors while all of this is going down. Taking extra security steps, such as always keeping your pets inside. If you can keep them from going even to the bathroom outside, that is lowering your risk. And, just don't fuel the fire. Don't stand out on your porch with your fire on and be like, don't come to my house. You really, in this instance, this is really, you want to be the gray man. You do not want to be noticed at all, unless you're going to be part of the protests. Then your responsibility is going to be protecting yourself and your family. So keep as far away from the situation as possible. Again, if you have to leave, then leave. And leave as quickly and as soon as possible, as soon as you see the first few signs of the civil unrest. During this time, it's not business as usual. I would highly advise against going to work during this time, especially if the protests and the civil unrest is like right there in the middle of how you get to work. Losing a few days worth of work is going to be worth it if it means protecting yourself and your family. And what I would say is, just have your home fortified for at least, the 2 weeks worth of food and water, first aid, medical supplies, anything you may need to stay indoors. And remember, you never have to open the door. If somebody comes to your door, especially if they claim that they're law enforcement, ask for ID through your cameras, not through the door. This is why having a ring or cameras is especially important. But it doesn't matter who is coming to your door. Trust no one in this situation, not unless you know that they are your neighbor who's in desperate need of help, or friend or family or something. But if they're a complete stranger, even if they claim to be law enforcement, you never, ever have to open your door to anyone. Even if you see their ID, you still have to ask them what their purpose is, why do you want to speak to them in person, et cetera, et cetera. If you cannot have the conversation through your camera or through the ring, then something really is up and you need to be prepared for that type of scenario. Also, something that I really quickly want to bring up about civil unrest and these kind of very traumatic experiences is your mental well-being. This is going to be a very traumatic event, even if you're not in the middle of it. It's going to be a traumatic event for you, your family, kids, and we have to keep that in mind. So, having that entertainment, having some distractions, having ways to keep our spirits up is going to be extremely important in this time of a crisis. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about any type of emergency or disaster, but especially a very stressful civil unrest situation like this that's happening in your localized area. You want to take care of yourselves. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this has been valuable information to you. If you have any other questions or concerns or anything else that you'd like to add to this conversation, please put it down below. Thank you all so much for watching Conquer Tomorrow by Preparing Today.